He almost ignored the warning. That would have been his biggest mistake. Patrick Holloway was 37 years old, a copy editor for a regional newspaper, and he had agreed to house sit for his sister Imogen for 16 days, while she and her family drove to Yellowstone or rented RV. The arrangement included 3 children's bedrooms full of plastic, a koi pond he was supposed to feed, and 1 buff cream Pomeranian Pekingese mix named Henson, who weighed 9 pounds and considered himself the head of household security. Patrick liked Henson well enough. He did not like that Henson stood on his hind legs at the kitchen counter and stared upward and would not come down for 35-minute stretches at a time. It began on day 4. Imogen had warned him that Henson had opinions about the kitchen. Patrick assumed she meant treat-related. He gave Henson a small biscuit. Henson ate it, returned to the counter, and resumed staring upward. The thing he was staring at was a small terracotta pot containing a leafy green houseplant his sister had received as a gift from a colleague 3 weeks before. Her trip. The plant sat on the second shelf above the counter. The note that had come with it, "Happy summer, this one's tough. Doesn't need much," was still tucked behind the pot. Henson stared at it. Patrick took a video and texted it to his sister. She sent back a laughing emoji. She sent back, "He's been doing that ever since we got it. He's a weird little guy." On day 6, Henson began to whine at the counter at 6 in the morning. Patrick moved his coffee station to the dining room. Henson followed him, sat at his feet, then trotted back to the kitchen and resumed staring at the shelf. On day 8, Patrick's youngest niece, Marigold, who was supposed to be at sleepaway camp, came home early with a stomach bug. Imogen had not been able to pick her up because she was in a national park with limited service. Patrick had driven the 2 hours to camp at midnight and brought Marigold back. Marigold was 8. Marigold loved her dog. Marigold sat on the kitchen floor the next morning eating dry cereal because that was all she could keep down. Henson did not lie down next to her. Henson stood between her and the counter. Henson would not let her stand up. Marigold pushed him gently. Henson moved. He stood between her and the counter from the other side. Patrick was making toast at the toaster, 2 feet from the plant. He saw Henson position himself. Something about it stopped him. It was not the staring. It was the placement. Henson had positioned his small body, 9 pounds, 3 inches off the ground at the shoulder, between an 8-year-old child and a houseplant on a shelf above their heads. The dog was not staring upward anymore. The dog was looking at the child. Patrick stepped back from the counter. He took the plant down. He looked at it. He did not recognize the leaves. He searched his sister's text messages for the name of her colleague. He called her. She had no idea what the plant was. It had been a thing from the farmer's market that didn't sell. Patrick called poison control. The triage operator asked him to take 3 photos and upload them through the toxicology team's secure portal. He did. The portal pinged back within 9 minutes. The plant was sago palm. Sago palm produces psychocin, a toxin that causes acute liver failure in mammals at trace ingestion levels. The seeds and the leaves are toxic. A child's exposure threshold is approximately 1 leaf. There is no antidote. The operator asked if anyone had touched the plant. Patrick said, "My niece eats at the counter. My niece is 8. My niece has been sleeping with her face on that countertop for 2 days. The operator said, "Bring her in to an ER for liver enzymes. Right now. Do not wait. Sago exposure can present after 24 to 72 hours. The blood work came back clean. Marigold had not touched the plant. The toxicologist who reviewed her labs said, "She's lucky," he used that word. Then he asked who flagged the plant. Patrick said, "My sister's dog." The toxicologist did not look up immediately. When he did, he said, "That's twice this year." he said. Dogs are extremely sensitive to glycoside compounds in toxic plants. He said, they smell them at threshold concentrations no human ever could. He said you brought her in before symptoms. He said, if you had waited. He did not finish. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Patrick threw the plant away. He drove to a hardware store and bought a hanging hook for the ceiling, above the dining room. He hung Henson's leash on it. Then he sat on the kitchen floor and called his sister and told her what had happened, and apologized for being annoyed by the dog for 8 days. Has your dog ever stationed himself in a specific spot in your house and refused to leave it, and you later found out something was wrong there? Tell us. We read everyone. Imogene came home 4 days early. She walked through the door. Henson was in the kitchen, on the floor where the counter had been cleaned, looking at the empty shelf. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Imogen knelt down. She did not say anything for a long time. Then she said, I owe you a steak. Henson looked up at her. He did not blink. He did not whine. He looked at the empty shelf one more time.